Hi, I'm Dr. Water. I'm a doctor, the kind who keeps working adults healthy, occupational and preventive medicine, and, off the clock, a lifelong manga reader. The wish to never grow old is probably one of the oldest human wishes there is. And lately there's a story that keeps pressing on it, very quietly. An elf mage who outlives her human companions by lifetimes. Walking through the after, once the friends who ran their short, bright lives are gone. Again and again, the series shows how the sense of time in someone who lives for centuries simply doesn't line up with a human one. Readers ask me all the time, if you could live that long, does your body just stay young? I get it. If I had a body that kept moving for centuries, I wouldn't have to sweat my own checkup results either. So today, not as a review of the series, but as a story about your body, I'll check the math against real aging biology. The short version up front, young forever is fantasy, but how you feel time changes how you live is startlingly true. I'm not here to judge the series. I'm here to ask, if a human body lived for centuries, what would actually happen? And back every medical claim with a paper. And because today's theme, anti-aging, life extension, is a genuinely sensitive one, YMYL, I'll be even more careful than usual. No absolute promises, no product recommendations. Aging runs on one clock, right? Stop it, and you stop aging? Turns out there isn't one clock. The elves in the series keep living, nearly unchanged in looks and ability, long after humans have aged and passed. Their aging clock seems to run extremely slow, or to have nearly stopped. So what is that clock actually made of in real life? Straight answer, there is no single master clock for aging. In current aging biology, aging is understood not as one cause, but as the accumulation of multiple biological features, hallmarks. A major 2023 review laid out a dozen-plus interconnected hallmarks: telomere shortening, cellular senescence, chronic inflammation, mitochondrial decline, and more. And they don't sit in separate lanes, they pull on each other. Stop one, and the one next to it keeps going. So loosen a single screw and aging halts doesn't hold up well in a real body. That's the takeaway of a review in which the hallmarks accumulate in a linked web. An elf, with all of it paused at once, is, physiologically, quite the feat. Takeaway: aging isn't one thing that breaks, it's many small changes stacking up, which is exactly why you can be skeptical of the idea that one spell or one supplement rewinds the whole thing. Just protect your telomeres and you're immortal. Nope, not by themselves. Talk longevity and telomeres always come up, the protective caps on the ends of your chromosomes that shorten a little with every cell division. Maybe you've pictured the elves as a species whose telomeres don't shrink. Careful here. Telomeres do relate to aging, but they are not a complete ruler for age. A systematic review/meta-analysis pooling 414 study samples across more than 743,000 people found the correlation between telomere length and chronological age was only moderate. And the pace of shortening isn't constant. It tends to be faster early in life and gentler at older ages, same. So read the telomeres and you'll know someone's exact age, or how long they have left is nowhere near that simple. Telomeres are one character in a multi-layered story of aging, not the culprit and not the one key. And by the way, plenty of products cheerfully promise, lengthen your telomeres, turn back time. Look at how weak the correlation above is, and you'll want to take a breath before reaching for that. I'm not recommending any of them here. Takeaway: telomeres are one important marker. But protect these and you'll never age, isn't it? You can keep your distance from any story about buying youth back with a single number. Living long equals staying healthy. Not the same thing. Straight-faced here. The thing longevity stories most often skip is that living long and staying healthy are not the same. I'll write this part plainly. With age, a chronic, low-grade inflammation called inflammaging creeps forward inside the body. This quiet smolder is described as a shared foundation under many age-related problems: cardiovascular disease, frailty, cognitive decline. So even if you could force lifespan longer, leave that inflammatory foundation untouched, and what you extend isn't healthy time. It's time dragged out while unwell. What longevity research is really chasing isn't lifespan, it's healthspan, the years you can still stand on your own 2 feet. Which is exactly why I'll add the safety line. There is currently no proven shortcut in any treatment, supplement, or procedure that claims to reverse aging or extend lifespan. The more absolute the promised effect, the more caution it deserves. Decide with your own physician. This part, I say without smiling. Takeaway. The goal is not length, but healthy length. Rather than flashy rejuvenation, the plain habits that don't stoke inflammation, sleep, exercise, not smoking, a healthy weight, are, for now, your surer allies. In fact, a large cohort showed that people with more of these healthy lifestyle factors spent more years free of cancer, cardiovascular disease, and diabetes. With enough effort, could humans live for centuries too? There's a wall in view. So could medicine push a human toward an elf? Extend life without a ceiling? There's some stubborn data suggesting there may be a limit. Studies of the very oldest people report that beyond about 110, mortality climbs even further, and the growth of longevity records themselves has slowed, which hints that human lifespan may have a practical limit. That said, whether a limit exists is not scientifically settled. There's data and interpretation on the no hard limit side too, and the debate continues among researchers. So I won't declare it either. The honest read, for now, there's something like a wall visible in a certain range, and it hasn't been easily crossed. The elves' lifespans sit far outside that visible wall, still the territory of fantasy, not medicine. But how healthily and how long you walk the stretch before the wall is a grounded challenge real medicine takes seriously. Takeaway. The upper limit of lifespan is unresolved. But using well the years short of the ceiling beats breaking through the ceiling. It's more realistic and probably far richer. Live for centuries. And how does the mind change? Here, even the science gets a little tender. I've been talking about the body, but what this series presses on most quietly may be the time of the mind. Someone with a long lifespan, chewing over, again and again, afterward, the time spent with short-lived friends. A lot of readers got caught right there. There's an interesting psychology theory here. Socio-emotional selectivity theory holds that the more you perceive your remaining time as limited, the more you prioritize emotionally meaningful relationships over new learning and expanding your network. The key point, what sets those priorities is not chronological age itself, but how you perceive time, same. Which is to say, someone who feels time is infinite tends to let each individual connection in front of them thin out. On paper, that overlaps neatly with the ache of the story, a long-lived being coming to take time with companions too lightly. Flip it around, and the finiteness of time we humans carry isn't only something we lose. It can be read as the very engine that makes us treasure the people we love. It's probably no accident that stories about long life keep arriving, somehow, at an affirmation of the finite one. Takeaway. The feeling that time is limited isn't just a painful constraint. It's also an engine for cherishing the person in front of you. Before you envy length, deepen this one round. That's a technique you can use starting today. Young forever, for centuries, like an elf, is still fantasy for a real body. Aging is a bundle of changes. One telomere won't buy youth back. Even the ceiling of lifespan isn't settled. But what this series is really talking about probably isn't the length of a life. It's how you feel finite time and who you spend it with. And there, surprisingly, sits a solid core of science. Not live long, but live well and live full. Rather than hunting a shortcut to youth, the plain habits that don't stoke inflammation and time spent treasuring the people in front of you are, for now, your surer allies. Manga is a doorway into how strange the body and a life can be, and the real body and real time are far more interesting than you'd guess. See you at the next checkup. Thanks for watching. I'm Dr. Water. Subscribe for the next body check, and I'll see you at the next appointment.